who specializes in a niche that I have avoided for a long time. And his name is MoHo Matt. But Matt, if you want to give them your full name, they'd probably want to know where they could find you, how to and how you got into what you're doing. I'd love to hear your story and kind of a brief introduction if you can.
Yeah, so my name is Matt Bonestro. I'm a mobile home dealer here in Phoenix, Arizona. My company is Phoenix Mobile Home, and more or less 6 years ago, I was sitting in a cubicle and I hated my job. I tried to, get into real estate, started exploring every single avenue, buy and hold, fix and flip, wholesaling. Started going to seminars, meetups here in Arizona on the weekends, evenings, and stumbled into mobile homes. And I've been doing mobile homes ever since. That's all I do. I don't do single families. I've only done a handful of single families in the past 6 years, and specialize in mobile homes.
Awesome. And so then talk to me, you in that time, and how many years was it again you've been doing this?
Roughly 6 years. The first
Okay.
couple of years, I was just doing it on the side, driving through mobile home parks in the evening and on the weekends. And then I've been doing it full time for about 2 years now.
Okay. And you, the last 12 months, and now also split it up. How many of these are if you're flipping, seller finance, like kind of break down kind of the spread, and then kind of what kind of volume are you looking at in the last 12 or 24 months?
The last 12, 24 months, this year I'm on pace to do about 50 to 60. If I had to go back the last 12 months, I'd say it's probably been around 50 homes. As far as the homes, I sort of specialize in two different areas. One area is mobile homes that are in mobile home parks, which a lot of investors stay away from. And then the other type of mobile home I specialize is it's on a piece of property. Family buys the property. They don't want the mobile home. What do they do with it? So I'll go in, remove it, and resell it more or less like a used car sales lot. So those sort of the two types of mobile home deals that I specialize. As far as the resale, the past 18 months, everyone knows it's been pretty crazy with COVID, inflation, or whatnot. So there's been a lot of cash buyers, but I think what we're going to see in the next year is a lot of seller finance deals. So those are my two exit strategies, depending on the deal, depending on the potential buyer.
Okay. So when we met in the Carrot Camp, I was telling you because I was still sitting on a single wide mobile home in a 55 and over park that I was having a hard time moving, and I didn't really realize at the time I had some shoddy flooring put in, and it was kind of a tripping hazard for the older people that were walking in the property. So I had to deal with it, but I didn't know, and I kind of was scared of that deal because it was a 55 and over park, and I'd never done anything like that before. And from talking to you, it sounds like you've done several in that kind of niche as well, into like the 55 and over
Yeah.
area. Okay, what kind of things are different between when you're doing a deal, or maybe you're doing a flip or selling a property in a senior park versus a family park? Are there any differences for you?
Yes and no. So when I started 6 years ago, I had a mentor, and the mentor said, "Stay away from 55 parks. They're seasonal. There's no money to be made. You want to be, in the high demand areas, family parks, nice parts of town, and whatnot." 2, 3 years ago, I started transitioning into 55 parks, and I realized that there's a lot more volume to be had if I also include 55 parks into my more or less day-to-day business. Uh, Depending on 55 parks can be a little difficult because you're dealing with people that are on fixed income. So either it's a person's second home or they're on fixed income. So there's a lot of ins and outs with 55 parks that vary from family parks. Family parks, you're dealing with first-time home buyers. Sometimes they don't have cash. 55 parks, you're dealing with people, that sometimes do have cash. It's second home, it's vacation home, but then you're also dealing with people that are on fixed income. So you're looking at lining up finance. The other thing to know is here in Arizona, 55 parks, knowing how much to get in on a deal. For example, you're going to want to have a nicer home. the 55, the seniors, they like move-in ready homes versus a family park. They want, whatever's cheap. They want the cheapest option. And a lot of the people that are living in the mobile home parks here in Arizona are handymen. So they don't care if it's as is. Um, but then, like I said, knowing that people are in fixed incomes for the 55 parks, you have to stay under a certain price because they have their lot rent payment. And then if they're financing the home, it's got to be at a price point that they can afford. So just knowing, depending on where the home's located in town, knowing potential exit strategies. Um, Also, within the past 6 months, 8 months, the 55 park sales have really slowed down. I think it's people that have lived through multiple recessions in their life, and they're staying put. So I've definitely seen the sales in the 55 parks somewhat slow down, but we've sold 3 in the past month in 55 parks. So people are still buying. It's just you have to know sort of the ins and outs of the market. I don't
Okay.
know if that answered your question. It's kind of
No,
a long
absolutely.
about.
No, that helps. That helps a lot. I like the perspective on it because someone who's more involved in that than I am.
Mhm.
So when that one deal in the park that I've done, also I've developed a relationship with the park manager, and there have been a few times that now she's let me know, or I've stopped in and found out if there was any units getting ready to turn over. Perhaps being able to pick up something, on the cheap when they do a I forget what do they call it? It's not a foreclosure. It's like a park.
It's
They
like a,
acquire it.
yeah, repossession,
Yeah.
like a landlord lien,
Hmm.
I guess.
Yeah. And so that's been actually kind of useful. I don't know what part of your business or how much emphasis do you put on the relationship with the people working in the parks?
Not enough,
Hmm.
not truly not enough. And the cool thing about the mobile home business is, like you're talking about, if you do a good job in a park, you improve the outside of the mobile home, you can really build a really good relationship with the park manager. Um, I don't put enough emphasis on it, and I know there's people here in Arizona where they can stay in business just based off of helping out one park. If you go out, build 3 4 5 relationships, really good relationships with some of these park managers, you don't have to do any marketing because the park managers will give you all your leads in business. So um, what the parks like to see is they like to see improvements to the outside. They like to see painting, skirting, stuff that doesn't necessarily increase your bottom line or your revenue, but it's stuff the park likes to see because you're helping improve their community.
Hmm. We had when I bought that one, they had a list that their inspector had made, or their handyman person for the park, and said, "Hey, look, if there's a sale of the property, they seems like they are lax on things a little bit for the people that are in the home right now because they know they're seniors, they're fixed income, they might not be the most
Mhm.
mobile for fixing stuff, but they had a laundry list for me of things they wanted done." When we bought it, and it was kind of helpful in a way because it was like a punch list for just telling the handyman or the contractor, here, get these things handled like right away, and it's already done. I don't have to go through and make it or that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I would actually say that's probably one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of new investors make. So they're not aware that these parks, as turnover happens, the person purchasing the mobile home has to do all the exterior repairs.
Hmm.
So the exterior repairs will sometimes kill a deal based off of the long punch list.
Hmm.
This past week, I looked at a house that it was in a family park. They're asking a good price, but then you look at the punch list, and the park wanted you to improve the driveway, to redo the asphalt. They wanted you to put a new roof on, fix the awnings, put a new porch on. Well, just right there, you're looking at $15,000 to $20,000 worth of work. That doesn't really affect what you can sell the home for.
Hmm.
So it's good and bad. It helps improve the park. If you're willing to do the repairs, you'll score brownie points with the manager and whatnot. But sometimes it's not necessarily the best for us investors.
Okay. So now, I mean, you said when you started out, you were finding deals, driving parks, driving for dollars, mobile home style. Um, what do you do now? What's your business like? Where you're sourcing, and if you have multiple sources, like maybe break up like what portion of it you get from which direction.
Yeah, it's all your standard lead sources that a single family investor would be focusing on. So focusing on an online presence, focusing on drive for dollar, direct mail, bandit signs. The quickest way to break into this business is obviously making connections with the park managers. So, for example, I just bought one a month ago from a park manager. The very first home I ever did in Arizona, she called me up, said, "Hey, we have a house that's coming up for sale. Are you interested?" So it's a relationship that I've had for 6, 7 years. So just keeping in contact with park managers. The other thing that you can do is you can build relationships with park owners. For example, I'm doing a deal right now that's going to close today, and the guy owns 20 parks here in Arizona. And
Oh,
I've
wow.
built a relationship with the guy, and he put me onto the deal. So, uh, building a word of mouth presence, online presence, and um, being consistent.
Do you own any parks yet?
No, that's my goal for the end of the year.
Okay,
So,
nice. Well, I remember seeing on one of your YouTube videos, and Matt has done a pretty good job, I think, with creating content on your YouTube channel. It's one of my goals is to try to be a little bit more active in that kind of thing. Um, but it was almost like a storage lot, or maybe it was where you were buying them. It was like you had a whole bunch of mobile homes, like just on blocks in a lot, sitting there. Like, were those ones yours, or were they ones you were looking at picking up?
uh, I'm not sure which video you're talking
Okay.
about, but so what happens is the homes that we do pull off property, we do have a place to store.
Hmm.
It's my transport guy. It's his property. He charges me a monthly fee, and it's just sort of baked into the transport costs. Um, the homes that are moved, they turn pretty quick, so it's not like a long term storage by any means. It's usually for a week, 2 weeks, but um,
Okay.
we pull them off property, we park them at his place, and then on to the next place. So
And so then they're moved just the one time move on the mobile, or is it like multiple times, and then you're going through different
the
lenders or alternatives?
the goal is to have a smooth transition from when I purchase it. The
Okay.
goal is always to have a potential buyer in mind, so that way you don't have to move it multiple times. But what I found is 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I started running into issues with transport companies. The easiest thing is just to get it off the seller's property and then worry about selling it after the fact. And then the other thing is I don't want to be pulling potential buyers onto the seller's property, escorting people on. It's like wholesaling where you have your potential investors coming back into the deal. It's just easy to get the mobile home off the property and then resell once it's in the storage yard.
Okay.
So that's usually
So
what I
then,
do.
so I guess my question now with mobile home financing, like traditional financing, if you have to go get that sort of a loan, it seems like there's a lot of lenders, a lot more lenders are available if the mobile home hasn't been moved, or some of them if it's been moved once, then
Yep.
there's a lot less. And I think it twice. I don't even know if there are. Maybe there are. You could tell me your experience on that.
Yeah, so financing on the back end is very difficult. Fortunately, here in Arizona, there's a lot of cash buyers for those types of deals, so you
Hmm.
don't really have to worry about finance. I do finance the homes that are moved for a second time because there are no lenders that will touch those deals. For me, it doesn't really matter. I just check to make sure that the property's paid off, so that way I can file a security agreement against the property. Um, as far as interest rates, more or less it's personal property. You can charge whatever as long as you have an MLO prove that they have the ability to repay.
Right.
Typical interest rates that you'll see for mobile homes are anywhere from 10 to 16%. I'm closer to the 10%. So right now it's a good option for a family that's looking for a cheap, affordable house. If they were to go to the factory buy double wide, you're looking at 150,000, 200,000 for a brand new double wide, versus a used double wide that's 50,000. So the homes that are moved multiple times, a bank won't traditionally lend on those, but they could be
Yeah.
good options for people that want notes.
Okay. And so then you've tried to venture. You do stuff locally in Phoenix, but also I remember you were trying to do more on a national basis as well, right?
Yep.
And so walk me through. I sent you one the other day, and you wanted to maybe save it for now, but walk me through kind of how on a national basis you figure out what the heck these things are worth, whether they're if they're in a park or on land or that kind of thing. And I've got a lead. The lady's definitely motivated, but I'm like, I have no freaking idea. right? I don't even know who to call in that area.
Yeah, so the national leads are very difficult to work.
Hmm.
You almost need a partner or a JV partner in the area. That's what I found.
Okay.
So, for example, I've done deals in Texas and then I've done deals in Nevada. I've found great JV partners for the two areas. Other areas, it's difficult because you're sending inexperienced investors in. I know the whole virtual wholesale
Hmm.
concept is you lock it up without seeing it. You have a title company coordinate. Well, mobile homes are personal property, and so if you don't have a person to meet them at the DMV, or if you don't have I guess a good title company that you can go to, it's very difficult to do a virtual deal with mobile homes. Not to say it can't be done. There's another gentleman out there that's doing uh, he's doing nationwide, and what he does is he uses the seller as his bird dog, and so he more or less just tacks on a finder's fee for bringing a buyer. Um, it's a small assignment fee. In my opinion, it's not necessarily worth it, but that's another way to, I guess, handle the transaction.
Okay.
So where I would start is you'd start on either Facebook Marketplace or
Let's do it. I'm going to switch over um, to my screen here. Let me see if I can do the share screen and window entire screen. And I'm in this one. All right. So that pull up.
it's pulling up right now.
Perfect. Okay. So right now I've got one. It's in Georgia, right?
Okay.
And so I'm in Facebook Marketplace right now. And so the first step, what would I do for you? I'd probably go location.
Yep, you're going to change your location.
Okay. Rossville, Georgia.
And then I've set okay, so it looks like you're more rural.
Okay.
Um, and it doesn't really look like you're by any large metro areas. So you're probably going to set the radius to something small.
Pretty close
See
to
if anything.
Chattanooga. I mean, it's
Oh, yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
up there.
Right by Chattanooga. Yeah, I'd set it to 20 miles.
Okay. And then let's see here. We're going to go. Do I
But
start here or do I go somewhere else?
even for Arizona, so say you're smack dab in the middle of Phoenix,
Okay.
depending on where you are in Phoenix, the homes are going to carry a different value. So that's sort of the tricky part about the mobile homes. The other thing that you have to understand is that mobile home parks also determine the resale value. So a
Okay.
nicer mobile home park is going to have higher resales than, say, like a 2-star, 1-star park. So
Okay.
that's another difficult thing if you don't understand or you're trying to do it virtual. You don't really know the quality of the park. If you're more local, you're going to have to put like a rating system to all the neighboring parks.
Okay. And so should I make my radius smaller for starting out?
Yeah, we could try a smaller radius just to see if there's any other parks in the area.
Okay. And um, should I go down here to home sales first or should I
Yep,
just,
you're going to go to mobile, just type in mobile homes into the search. Now, the weird thing, I'm actually in Facebook jail right now, trying to get out. But the weird thing is that they don't necessarily qualify as homes. So a lot of
Mhm.
people will list them as miscellaneous.
Mhm.
So as you can see, you got a couple for Rossville. You have, um,
Make it even
okay,
smaller for now. Hang on.
yeah, you got Chattanooga in there. Okay.
Just go 5. There we go. Now Chattanooga, you get a little bit. Okay.
That's fine. Okay, so you have 69,000, you have 91,000, you have 57,000, 58,000, 115,000, 45,000.
But this one, the 115 there, I guarantee is on land, right?
Yep. So
So,
that's the first thing you'd probably have to look through is you have to see if they're in mobile home parks or if they're on land.
mhm.
So I'd click on that first one, 69,000, just see. The other thing that I'm going to look for, so that's the Chattanooga. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to scroll down and just see what the description. It's pretty clear sometimes, like
Yep.
whether it's
On
an
that.
investor. So this guy's willing to consider rent to own. My guess is if you click on his profile, he's going to have other mobile homes for sale. If you can
Old
just,
Ibis. All right. Oh,
uh,
he's not getting good reviews. That's sad. All
well,
right.
my reviews are terrible.
Mine are really bad.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the only mobile home he has for sale.
Okay.
I usually check because, for example, if you click on my profile, you'd see that, oh, this guy's got 20 mobile homes for sale.
I
He
mean, you
knows what he's
would
doing. It's probably everything's priced accordingly. The
if you
problem
weren't.
with the problem with Facebook Marketplace is you have to sift through the homes that are priced accordingly and the homes that are priced way too high or way too low. So it's very
Right.
difficult getting comps from Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
It takes a couple weeks to sort of a couple weeks of tracking it daily just to see which homes are moving,
Yeah, that's not
which
going to be. That's not going to work for me.
yeah.
I know that.
Um, so the next thing I'm looking for is okay. So the lead that contacted you, you have to figure out the year, the size, the condition, um, what park it's located in. And the
Okay.
reason why you're going to want to figure that out is because a single wide in that park is not going to comp the same as a double wide.
Okay.
So
So
we got
here
to
we are.
figure out, okay, which park we're in.
So what park are we in? And it's like it's one of those where it's like it's actually like a street address, but it's still in a park.
Okay, yeah,
So
that's not an issue. You might have a Google view then.
let's see.
Can you drop your little Google guy in there?
The street view.
Yeah, Street View.
Let's see here.
Okay, so that's a nice looking double wide.
Yeah.
If that's the true home, and
Mhm.
it's another good thing about that one, if it's that exact one, is you have a corner lot, it looks
Yeah.
like.
It's
So,
got like backs up to Greenbelt or
yep,
something. It
so
looks
that
like
would be a potential selling point.
it's got a mobile. It looks like got a ramp already.
Yep. So I would just drive down that street really quick. And what I'd look at is, okay, what type of cars are in here? Are you seeing any riffraff? Is there junk in the yards? For the most part, this is a pretty clean mobile home park. You don't see a lot of trash.
Drug deals going down.
Yeah, no drug deals. The cars are okay cars. You're not seeing beat up,
A lot of old
cars
people
on.
so far. A lot of
Yeah,
old people.
yeah, it could be a 55 park.
Let's see.
Um, it looks like a nice community.
Yeah, I think so.
So then what I'm going to do is since that home, if it's
Mhm.
at home, it looks like it's a 90s 2000 model mobile home. So I'd go back to Facebook.
Yeah, it is a 2000. I think it's a 2000 double wide.
Yep. And then what we're going to do is we're going to try to find another 2000 double wide in that exact same park.
Okay.
So this $40,000 one on the second row.
Here, maybe I'll zoom in even closer then if I'm trying to get in the park. You think? Let's see. Okay, sorry. Did I lose the one you were looking at?
That's okay. I'd say click on that $58,000 one on the first row. Yep. This home has to be moved. If you have a lot land, you are looking for a home. Okay. Wonder why it has to be moved.
Yeah.
I'd scroll down and see who the seller is. Okay, Judy. Okay, so she has other homes. She has another home. Click on the 57,000. Be still. 27 Clayton. Located in beautiful. Okay, she's going to tell you the mobile home park, maybe.
Mountain View Estates.
Mountain View Estates, 14 by 46. So that's a small single wide. Should be able to tell if that's the same base address.
Let's see.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think it's a different one.
Look at that, 102,000.
Yeah.
131,000 pending sales. Oh, that's Washington.
No, here in Washington. These ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
We it gave me a Washington one, not
Yeah,
Georgia.
you can
Oh,
you can,
okay.
you can go back to the Google Maps and it should have, if you hover over the address,
Okay.
it should tell you what mobile home park it is. Like if you zoom out, usually right there, the center. What does it say?
That's like someone's Google My Business.
Oh,
You know those people. There we go. Maybe this
Village
one.
Green.
Green. Oh, I think that's it.
Okay.
Okay.
And then what you can do is you can look at the reviews, but the next thing I'd do is I'd go to Google.
Okay.
It's a Yes Community. So Yes Community is actually owned by country of Singapore,
Okay.
and they're known to have good parks. But what I would do is I would go to Village Green, and then you should be able to see if they have any houses for sale.
Okay.
Scroll down. So it looks like
View
they
all
have one
homes.
for sale. View all homes. Yep. So rent. You see that they're renting. Purchase price. Or
Yeah,
here's
yeah,
the
they do rent in this park. They do rent in this park. That was one of the things that was interesting about it for me.
So sometimes when you come across a mobile home park that rents homes, it's because
Mm-hmm.
they don't have the buyers in the market to support selling them.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll see, for example, in Arizona, you won't see any parks that rent just because there's cash buyers. There's people that can qualify to purchase. But every once in a while, you'll run into a market where, like, for example, rural Tennessee, people
Mm-hmm.
don't have the income to purchase a $60,000 house. So so they rent them.
Okay.
So that's one thing I'd be careful about.
Yeah, I think this one's probably not a deal. But there was somewhere else you were going to, because I think she owes like 48 and something like that, like on her
Yeah.
loan. So I was trying to figure out.
And it
But
looks like the resale is 50,
yeah,
and that's not accounting for potential repairs.
yeah.
When I buy a mobile home, I always budget for 3 to 4 months of potential holding costs, depending on how good your crew is at getting in, cleaning it out.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you try to push the price as far as high end of retail, you're going to get caught holding it for longer if you're trying to squeeze every last penny out of it. I tend to sell stuff $5,000 to $10,000 less than what I probably could sell it for, but I
Mm-hmm.
like to get rid of inventory. My game is volume.
What there was one other site you were talking about when we talked
Oh,
before.
MH Village.
MH Village. There we go.
It'd be like the MLS for mobile homes.
Okay. Let's see. So we got MH Village, manufactured homes. I never heard of this one. I'm gonna
And MH Village is okay.
okay.
Most of the homes on here are going to be posted by dealers.
Okay.
So usually they're going to be on the high end, but it's good for just getting an overall sense for homes that are in the parks and whatnot. There you go. It's probably going to be all of Yes Community's listings.
Okay.
View homes in the community on the right.
Okay. I got nothing.
Okay.
Okay.
The other thing that you can do if you're new to a park,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you can call the park manager, and the park manager, since they're doing every single rental application,
Okay.
more times than not, they're going to ask, okay, what's your house selling for? Or what'd you sell your house for? Or what are you buying it for?
Yeah.
So the park managers usually have a good idea of what the homes are selling for inside their
I
communities.
got to get out of this thing. I've got something streaming. Do you have it on yours? Because you're a presenter too. Can you click the little circle on the right? I think the show the. Let's see. There we go. Oh, here we go. There's the X. There we go. Now I can get back. There we go. We're back. Okay. That gives me something that I can try to go through. When I was running into it, because I've run into definitely a few, and I can try to figure out the ones here in Washington, and I can even pull MLS and do that kind of thing. But
The,
when it's
the,
these things out of the area, I'm like, I have no clue on this one. And
the,
oh yeah, that reminds me, I need to call Matt.
the problem that you run into, and you're a real estate agent, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say if I had to put a number to it, 10% of the transactions happen on the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think a lot of new investors, they look at the sales on the MLS and they think it's a true comp, when in reality, it's probably on the high end of what you can actually sell them for. And so a lot of times, people will sell, well, we saw this one sell for this price. It's like, yeah, it probably did sell for that price, but with finance. So if you're willing to line up finance and go through an inspection and all that stuff, yeah, you might be able to sell for that. But 90% of the sales don't happen on the MLS, so there aren't true comps. So anytime someone's like, well, I spoke with a realtor, this is what the realtor thinks I can sell for, it's always going to be like 10, 15, 20, sometimes even 40, 50,000 more than what homes are actually selling for.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say be careful if you're basing all your numbers off of what other realtors are saying or what the MLS is saying. The best way to figure out potential resale is by running test ads. And people always go back and forth whether it's ethical running ghost ads. Um, but essentially, if you have pictures of previous homes you've sold, you can post it on Facebook and play around with the price to see what the response rate is based off of whatever park you're selling and the year home you're selling. And that's also how people build buyers lists in this business. So they'll post a home that can be moved, 2,000 double wide, and they'll post at 60,000. Well, if they don't get any responses, they're priced too high. If they post at 40,000, all of a sudden their phone starts blowing up. The potential sale is probably somewhere in between that 40 and 60,000. So that's how people really build their buyers list, and then also figure out where they need to be for selling homes.
Hmm.
So that's one way to figure out potential resale. Like I was saying, the park managers are always good resources. And then, if you talk to a dealer's probably going to be on the low end because we're going to give you the price that we have to buy it at. But there also are dealers that specialize in resale of homes. So, for example, there's this guy here in Phoenix. His name's Stuart. I'll give him a plug. I sell homes with Stuart because Stuart has a really good sense of the market. He knows exactly what the homes are going to sell for. He's not going to tell you you list it for 50 and it's going to sit for 3 months. He'll tell you, no, you need to list at 35, and I could probably sell within 2 weeks. I also do have a sales team as well. We can tell you exactly what homes they're selling for, but realtors are usually going to be on the high end for a resale.
Okay. So when you are looking at a new property you're considering acquiring, what are the top things that you look at that are going to be like your big ticket items that you know that you're not going to be able to get around probably, or they're going to be harder for you to get around without addressing on a mobile home?
Year is going to be the biggest thing.
Okay.
And the year for a couple different reasons. For example, if you're pulling a mobile home off a property and it's older than 1976, you can't reset the home unless you bring it up to the current HUD code. So transport, the biggest thing that you got to look for is the year. The year is also probably the most important factor. If you look at a mobile home inside a park, it limits your exit strategies. For example, say you have a dispute with the park, you want to pull your home out. You can't pull your home out if it's older than 1976. The other thing is banks won't lend on an older home that's older than 1976. So year is probably going to be the biggest thing I look for. As far as condition, anything with the mobile home can be fixed pretty easy. So condition doesn't really scare me away. If it's an extremely rough mobile home and it's a 1970, I'll probably back away from it. But, if it's a 1970, it's extremely rough, it's in a family park, and the park doesn't want the home pulled out, there's probably money to be made. So it's all dependent on the park. The other thing that you run into is some of the mobile home parks are trying to upgrade their homes. So, for example, you own a 1970 mobile home, you're thinking about selling, the park will explicitly tell you, hey, you have to remove your home from the park, or the buyer has to pull it out. Well, if you own a 1970 mobile home and you're trying to sell it and the new buyer has to pull it out, they can't do anything with the home unless they bring it up to the HUD standards. Every once in a while, you'll see an investor purchase that mobile home not knowing that it doesn't meet the HUD standards. So I would say if you are looking to get into mobile homes, or you're thinking about potentially buying a couple mobile homes, I would pay attention to the year and make sure that's 1976 or newer. Not to say that you can't. I'm buying a 1972 today, but I've already spoke with the park. I know I can keep the mobile home inside the park, and I'm getting it for the right price. So, I know potential risk with the deal.
How many free mobile homes have you acquired?
I usually get 5 a year, I'd say. I got a smoking deal down in Elgin, Arizona earlier this year, back in May. Family wrongfully evicted. They called me up, said, hey, we need to get our mobile home off the property. We just sold our property to so-and-so, and they served us an eviction notice to remove our home. Called me up, and their pain point was not, getting any money from the sale of their home. They just wanted the mobile home gone. So I got a smoking deal on that one. Every once in a while, someone will find you, they inherited a mobile home. They live in Minnesota, and dad passed away in Arizona. He had a mobile home, and they have to continue paying the space rent. They want nothing to do with the mobile home. They just want to get rid of it. So, that's a very common situation that you run into here in Arizona. So I'd say probably 5 a year.
What's the highest space rent you've seen?
Uh, it's getting up to about $1,000.
Yeah.
But depending on, you talk to someone from California, they'll tell you space rent's 2,500. So,
It'd be waterfront.
here in Arizona, you're looking at 900. I'd say market's probably 700, 750, somewhere in there. But every once in a while, you'll run into a park that's got 950 lot rent. And I'll say this: if you're looking to get into this business, pay attention to the lot rent. Prior to purchasing, call all the neighboring parks. Your buyers are paying attention to that stuff, and you're in the affordable housing space. You have to know what their end payment's going to be, and the parks that do have higher rent are more difficult to sell. The sales prices are going to be lower. Yes, they might offer more amenities, but often, buyers will forego a lot of the amenities for cheaper lot rent. So, your buyers are paying attention to the space rent, and they are aware if it's the highest in the area.
I can concur with that one specifically.
Yeah.
The one that we were doing here was almost $1,200 a month. And it was at 55 and over, really close to the hospital. The corporation bought them. What was it called? Dang it, I can't think of it off the top of my head. But very nice. But there was brand new units going for $200,000. So we were paying $200,000 for the privilege of paying $1,200 a month lot rent,
Yeah.
which
So
is crazy to me. But
you factor in that, so it's like 1,200 plus you're going to have utilities, which is going to be 150 a month.
mhm,
Then you're going to have insurance, and then you'll have your home payment.
yeah,
You're pushing over 2,000, 2,500 a month just to live in the mobile home park, which is insane. I
mhm.
don't know your market as far as single families, but I'm sure you can buy a condo for that price.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, absolutely. Well,
So
we got a couple questions actually from the people watching on Facebook. One, Sandra wanted to know, what do you usually pay for moving a home? And I know that you're going to probably have a better deal with your guy than most of us would pay. But what does it usually run to move a home for most people? And then if you know somebody and get a hookup.
depending on where you are, if you're in Arizona, I got to hook up, but single wide. So when you're moving a mobile home, there's going to be two factors. You're going to have like the tear down is what they call it. And then most movers include 30 miles for transport. So if it's in Phoenix, I'm moving it across town. It's a single wide. You're looking at probably $4,000.
Okay.
Double wide, you're probably looking at 5 to 6,000 because they have to split the home in half. It just takes a little more time. Um, if it's not in town, you're looking at paying mileage as well. So you'll have to talk to your transporter to see how he bids the job. People are paying anywhere from $10 to $15 a mile. So for a double wide, you have to pay that twice. So, say it's 100 miles away, you have 100 times $15 a mile plus whatever their prepping cost is. So if
Wow.
it's up in Flagstaff, I'm pulling it back to Phoenix for a double wide. I'm probably looking at about 9 to 10,000.
Okay. And so what is it? And is that
But
include like setting it up at the new place?
no, that's
Okay.
that's just transport. The other things that you have to understand is that every single job's different. So,
Mhm.
for example, here in Arizona, everyone has awnings. If you have an awning, to disconnect the awning, that might be $500. Uh, if the utilities are still connected, you have to figure out, okay, are you going to charge me extra to disconnect utilities? Sometimes homes in Arizona, they're called ground set homes, where there's concrete pads all the way around the home. If you have to dig up the concrete, that could be a cost. That could be $1,000 just if they have to bring their bobcat to the job site to dig the home out. Okay, if you're purchasing a mobile home from a property and the seller wants you to remove the concrete, you have to factor in, potentially removing all the concrete. So what's your dumping fees? So it can add up. I would say a simple job where it's on stands or on block, you don't have to remove the block, double wide in town, $5,000, but everything else is extra.
Okay. And so what does it usually cost you to get it set now that you've transported it to the site?
A lot of the homes I don't set myself because I'm
Okay.
selling to an end buyer that's going to set the home up.
Okay.
But for example, single wide, you're probably looking at $2,000 to build the AB pad, Every state's going to be different and have different requirements on what you have to do for setting the mobile home. Here in Arizona, you have to build up a foundation or an AB material pad that has proper drainage. So that way, if water gets under the home, it drains away from the home. AB pad is about 2,000. Permits through the county and state are probably going to be 600 to 700. Depending on your installation company, you have to have a licensed company do the installation. Most of them will include 50 foot of connection. So, if your power pole is 50 feet away, if your septic's within 50 feet, AC is obviously going to be sitting next to the house. To set a single wide, you're looking at about 6,000 to 8,000 in Arizona.
Okay.
And so in total, with transport, setup, permits, you're probably looking at 12 to 15,000 for a single wide.
Okay.
And I'd say probably closer to 25 for a double wide.
Let me see. I think we hit on a lot of these. Do you get any love off Craigslist anymore, or do you just do Facebook Marketplace?
For selling or buying?
Both.
I'm lazy. Like there are people that are buying homes off Facebook. You really have to watch it. I don't watch it. Like I said, I'm in Facebook Marketplace jail right now, so I can't even access Facebook Marketplace.
You're stuck on Craigslist.
But when I was posting homes, some of the first people that would contact me every single time were other dealers, and they had no clue I was a dealer. So there's this one guy, every single time I'd post a home, he was the first person that would contact me. So there are people clearly buying off Facebook if he's watching it. Every once in a while, I have bought homes off Craigslist as well. And it'd be, someone doesn't enter the mobile home into the correct category. They place it in the miscellaneous and they use the word trailer. I'm selling a trailer instead of a mobile home. So you'll find deals that way too, with people just don't categorize them correctly. But yeah, I would say watch it for both buying and selling. The most common place to sell a mobile home is on Facebook Marketplace.
Okay. So definitely the transport costs, factoring in that. What do you bother with, like kitchen, bathroom remodels in there, that kind of thing? Or do you really, or do you just kind of do it as is? How do you go?
I'd say 80% of the homes I sell are as is,
Mhm.
but during COVID, everything was selling. And what we found is that a lot of the single family buyers were actually gravitating towards mobile homes because they couldn't afford single families. So they wanted a more fixed up, pretty mobile home. Now it's sort of gravitating back to our traditional mobile home buyer. But during COVID, we were flipping everything just because stuff was selling for ridiculous prices, and everything was cash, and the buyers wanted a more more fixed up product. Right now, I'm flipping homes, but only in family parks. 55 parks, I'm trying to stay under 50,000, under 60,000. I had a couple 55 park homes that when the interest rates shot up, the buyers turned off in the 55 parks, and the sales were non-existent. So I'm trying to stay, if it's in a 55 park, I'm trying to stay at a lower price point. That way I have more exit strategies. So if I have to owner finance, I can take a down payment deposit and not get caught with 60, 70, $100,000 stuck in a mobile home. So that's sort of my strategy right now.
Okay. Do you have any recommendations for finding the right mover relationship, or is it just kind of keep trying them all until you get lucky?
Word of mouth. It took me 2 to 3 years to find a good, reliable transport company. I'd say your best bet's actually going to be talking to mobile home parks. Every single park in the area is going to have a transport company that they use to bring homes in and bring homes out. So I would try starting with the mobile home parks. The next place I'd try is all the factories. The factories are going to have a list of all the transporters that you can use if you purchase a mobile home from them. So they might have a list or be willing to share some recommendations. The problem that you run into with installation companies is some of them are, they're extremely loyal to the factories and they'll only work for the factories. So for example, in Georgia, in Tennessee, you have this huge Clayton factory out there, and it's impossible to find transport companies because they all work for Clayton. And so I know other investors that they can't find a reliable mover that wants to work because they're all contracted by Clayton. So some parts of the country are easier to find than others. Another place I would try is Facebook. There's a ton of Facebook groups for mobile home movers, and they're always constantly sharing jobs and posting, "Hey, I need work." So you could always try mobile home Facebook group. Just make sure they're licensed and bonded. That's all I would say.
Okay. I like it. That's awesome, man. Well, I think I'm about out of questions for you. You're so modest, like a lot of times, and then like you just start dropping like knowledge and like going through, and then there's this and this and this, and I was like, oh crap, and that, oh, and I didn't even think about that, and then we got, and it's just you have it down. You've been focused on this for a bit, and you're an expert at it, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me about it, and hopefully. Hopefully we can connect again because I really enjoyed meeting you when we were down in Roseburg. I'm actually driving through Roseburg today.
Oh, nice.
But we'll hit there like dinner time. I thought about hitting Trevor up and saying, hey, you want to get a late dinner with my family, but he's by that time, by about 8 o'clock at night, he's usually pretty done. But no, I definitely want to thank you, man. And I'm much, I want to see the updates with your soon to be young one.
Yeah.
Going pretty soon. I think about 4 months, 4.5 months.
Yep. December. So
Awesome. Well, cool. Thank you, Matt. And where can they find you, follow you? What's the name of your channel, your website?
you can send me Facebook requests, just Matt Bonestro, if you want to link that up, and then I do have a website, but it's more towards generating leads and whatnot. And then I have the Facebook group, Mobile Home Investing, that I should be more active in, but I can send you a link for that. And then I'd say the best place is just reach out through Facebook if you have any questions, about a deal you're looking at. Either I can try to connect you with someone in your area, or I could help out as well. So.
Okay, and it's just called Mobile Home Investing is the name of the group?
Yeah, it's here. Let me see if I can send you the link. I'm not very active in it. I should be more active, but
I know how that goes.
it's just other stuff going on. Okay.
Here you go.
I'll send you the link.
Send me the link. I'll drop it in the comments, and then it'll be there too. But awesome, man. Well, have an awesome Thursday, and I will talk to you soon. I'll try to harass you so I can talk to you more often than I have been.
Sounds good.
All right,
Sounds
man.
good.
Thanks, Matt.
Yep. Talk to you later.
Yeah.